Kevin had previously attempted to take his own life, so there were fears that he had tried again and succeeded.
And that's another thing too. Like mental health, it should be one of the many priorities in life. What's happening, peoples? It's your boy Blaze here, back at you with another one of the Venomous reactions, and we're gonna take a little bit of a tone switch as we talk about a murder case by someone by the name of Kevin Bacon. Now, before y'all get off in the comment section, no, it is not the actor. It is a local resident with the same name as the actor. So apparently, for what I could gather, this took place back in 2019 around the holiday season. I really didn't catch the full glimpse of the full story because, ironically enough, I saw this on the Missing channel on Snapchat because I subscribed to them, and they popped up on my time feed, and they discussed the case. And I believe he was having either an outing with friends or he was meeting up with someone. I really couldn't catch the full details, but I did catch enough to where I was intrigued about going deeper into this case. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, this should be interesting.
On the 24th of December 2019 in Schwartz Creek, Michigan, a 25-year-old man named Kevin Bacon was chatting to another man on the dating app Grindr. Kevin
Oh,
worked as a
so he
hairdresser,
was meeting up
and
with
during
someone.
this
Okay.
time, he was going through a rough patch and was struggling with his mental health. He was in the process of saving money to move to another part of the United States for a fresh start. Kevin
Hmm.
told his housemate that he had found someone on Grindr and he was going to get ready and head out for the night. The doorbell camera shows Kevin leaving at around 5 p.m., and this was the last time he was ever seen. The next
Damn. You know this. This is one of those weird cases where online dating is like it's sketchy, and people wonder why they don't do that because of scenarios like this. Because you don't know who you're going to be meeting up with. You could be meeting up with someone that has your best interest, or someone that's going to be out to yeah, basically make you a part of the whole missing person spectrum, and things like this. I can see why. Scary.
day rolled around, Christmas Day, and Kevin had plans to have breakfast with his family. Concerns grew when he failed to attend the gathering. After he missed the Christmas breakfast with his family, they called his mobile phone, but there was no answer. They went around to his apartment, but he was nowhere to be seen.
That's
Fearing
when
the
you know
worst,
something
his
was
father called the police
off.
to report him missing. Kevin had previously attempted to take his own life, so there were fears that he had tried again and succeeded.
And that's another thing too. Like mental health, it should be one of the many priorities in life. Like even if, even if you're in good standing, you have to make sure you maintain that good standing, like mentally. If your mental state, your mental health is fractured, it's okay. It's okay to seek like help with that. And I believe that's one of the things that's plaguing society today. And people may not talk about it, but mental health, it's really a thing. Like you cannot fathom how important it is until you sink into your own little rabbit hole and you can't seem to dig yourself out. Man, take care of your mental health, people, because it's vital.
Friends, family, and police searched neighbouring towns, forested areas, and farmlands. For 3 days, the group searched for Kevin, hoping to find him alive and well, or at the very least, some clues as to where he could be. Eventually, the police found Kevin's car outside a local store. Inside his car, they found his phone, wallet, and some of his clothes. The police checked Kevin's
Mm.
mobile phone and found messages from Kevin to another man, the man he had met on Christmas Eve. The police used this information, which led them to a house in Bennington Township, where a 51-year-old man named Mark Latunsky lived. On the 28th of December,
Yo,
the
he
police
looked
knocked on the door
deranged.
and conducted a search of the property. Mark welcomed the police inside, wearing no shirt and only a brown leather kilt. The police made their way around the house, and when they went into the basement, they discovered a secret room. Inside this secret room, they made a grim
Of
discovery.
course.
Mark had strung up Kevin by his ankles with rope, with chunks of flesh missing from his body. Kevin had a stab wound to the back of the neck, and his throat had been slashed. Kevin's
Ooh.
testicles were also missing. Mark had used a knife to remove them and then fried and consumed them. After
So you mean to tell me he strung this dude up by his ankles and pretty much hacked his family jewels off, fried them, and Ugh. Yo, not one person thought of this as being crazy, deranged. Like, are you serious, bro? I. Mm-mm. Let's continue on.
finding Kevin in this horrific state, Mark was arrested and taken in for questioning, and he told the police his
As he
version of
should.
events. He told them that the two had met on the 24th of December after talking on Grindr. The pair agreed to meet in a parking lot, the same place where Kevin's vehicle was found. He said they agreed to act out on a fantasy Kevin wanted to try. Kevin stripped naked
Ooh.
and put on a blindfold, ankle restraints, and wrist restraints. They then drove back to Mark's house. The two had consensual intercourse, and after, Mark claimed that Kevin told him that he wished to end his life and confided in him that he had tried in the past. Mark claimed that they agreed
That's
he
one
would
thing you
assist in
don't tell
killing
people
Kevin
that you
under the
don't
condition
know.
that all of Kevin's body would be used for a purpose. Mark said he used the knife to stab Kevin in the back of the neck. He then took him to the secret basement and strung him up with rope. He then opened a trap door under where Kevin was hung from and slit his throat. The blood drained from his body and dripped onto the dirt outside from the open trap door. This was done so Kevin's body could fertilize the plants outside the house. As part of the agreement, Mark said he would use Kevin's bone meal to plant tulips, his intestines to grow chestnuts, and would use his muscles to make human meat jerky.
Human meat jerky. Oh, this is creepy as hell. Like the one thing that struck me is this. Why would you meet him in a parking lot? Out of all places. Like especially when there's like I'm pretty sure this is like pretty much late at night. I don't know. I don't know what time of day they met up, but still, if you're gonna meet up with people, make sure you're surrounded by people. So that way you have witnesses. But but I understand his mental state wasn't as strong. But there's another thing to it that you don't disclose wanting to end your life to strangers, especially if they if they gonna if they're gonna be more than willing to carry out your wishes. They're gonna interpret that. Wow.
Not long after Mark was arrested, a package containing a dehydrator arrived at the house. Mark also admitted to cutting off his genitals and consuming them. Mark is a father of four and a highly intelligent man, and even earned a master's degree in chemistry. He was once married and lived a stable life, but he and his wife split after he displayed some strange behavior. Mark also has a long
Obviously.
history of mental health illnesses. Mark was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety, with paranoid schizophrenia and borderline personality traits. His mental health
Yikes.
issues are treatable with medication, but his ex wife claimed that Mark was known for refusing to take them. She also said that when he would stop taking his meds, he would stay up all night glued to the television, watching dark and gruesome murder videos and movies. And while he was watching this
That should have been
content,
a red
he would
flag right
talk to
there.
himself. His paranoia also led him to believe that his ex wife was trying to kill him, and on one occasion, he even attempted to kidnap his own children. Mark's story did have an inconsistency. While the two were texting on Grindr, Kevin had asked for reassurance that he would be safe during the meeting multiple times. He was worried about putting himself in a vulnerable situation with a stranger. There were no signs that Kevin wanted to be hurt or killed by Mark.
Yeah, that's one thing you take a risk out with online dating. Like you don't know what to expect. Like you don't know what your surroundings is gonna be. Like you're basically leaving the door open to trusted someone. And will you be open enough to trust any and everybody? That can have a long time effect, not only mentally, spiritually, but mainly physically, because you don't know what this person is capable of. That's why I say, man, if you're gonna online date, man, s- be aware, be aware and attentive of who you're chatting it up with. I, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things on that double-edged sword, though. Like, oh my god.
And it also turned out that Mark had other victims too, although they didn't quite suffer to the same extent of Kevin. On the 10th of October 2019, a man named James Carlson made a frantic call to 911, claiming that he had been kidnapped and awoken in Mark's basement. He told the operator that he had been tied and chained up. He was able to free himself by
Also, he
cutting
had
through a leather
other
strap with a
victims.
nearby knife. He managed to steal Mark's vehicle and get away from his house before making the call. He told the police that he had been drugged by Mark and he had been locked in the basement. James didn't press charges at first, but after the murder of Kevin emerged, he did. After the police spoke with James in the police
Oh,
car, they dropped him off at a
yeah, he was probably afraid for his life. Like he was afraid that this person was gonna come after him if he pressed charges, which, in a sense, I can understand because if you don't have like circumstantial evidence to support to back up your charges, that's well. Let me reword that in the best way possible. If you don't have like concrete evidence to back up the charges that you're trying to charge on certain person, it's gonna make your case look weak. And we all know with weak cases, they they normally don't make it to like they normally don't make it to the courtroom. That's the truth.
petrol station with no way to get back home, and they didn't bother to follow up
So
anything
this is
further.
crazy.
This is one of the reasons as to why he never chose to press any charges. And then on the 25th of November 2019, another man called 911. The man was panicking as he was being chased by Mark after escaping from his house. He told the operator that a creepy man was chasing him down the street and that he had been tied up in the basement. This man managed to get to the neighbor's house and an officer was soon on the scene. The officers spoke with the man who was half naked, only wearing a leather kilt. Mark told the police that the man was there consensually and had become spooked at some point. He told the
Yo,
officer
I
that the only reason he
I
was
would be
chasing
spooked
this
too.
man
Like,
was
what the
because he
hell?
was wearing the leather kilt, which he claimed was very expensive. Officers later claimed there was nothing they could do at the time of either incident. They said neither of these men wanted to
Wow.
pursue anything further, and both of the men denied these claims by the police. They called the police because they wanted help from the police. But still, even if this was the case, surely something could have been flagged up after the first incident. And
I
then,
mean,
when the second incident happened, they should have known that something was seriously wrong with Mark. Mark's husband of 3 years, Jamie Arnold, told the media that he didn't even know about Mark's mental health issues until July of 2019. He had suspected
mm-mm-mm.
that something was very off with him, but said he never suspected that he was capable of such a horrific crime. Jamie left the house in September and didn't live with him at the time when this happened.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't know about people. Like, they're not gonna disclose everything. Like, certain things they choose to be sheltered about. They want to keep to themselves. That, but even then, like, if you notice something, that should be like an alert going off in your head. Like, bro, get your shoes and run. Get your shoes and run. Press charges if you need to. Do whatever you can to make sure you're safe.
He also didn't even know about the men that had escaped from the house. Jamie is quoted as saying, "In hindsight, it's easy to sit back and speculate, but at the time, you're going through it and there are emotions and feelings involved. You don't want to think that the person you fell in love with is some crazed homicidal maniac." Kevin's family and friends believe that Mark is very smart and is using his history of mental health issues to try and get a more lenient sentence. But when Mark was brought before a judge, he claimed
Normally,
that his name
normally
was
that would be the
Edgar
route to go.
Thomas Hill and that Mark Latunsky was his nephew. This was backed up by his husband, who confirmed that he did indeed have paranoid beliefs that his family weren't his actual family and that he was someone else. Mark's lawyers tried to add a charge of assisted euthanasia instead of murder, and thankfully, the judge denied this request. In January of
As,
2020,
as
Mark
they
put forward
as
a
they
plea
should.
for insanity. At first, the judge agreed and ruled that he was unfit to stand trial. But by October of 2020, the court reversed their decision and he was deemed fit to stand trial. His trial was set to begin in
Ooh.
July of 2021, and I searched to find recent information about this case. And as hard as I tried, I couldn't find anything recent or anything about a conviction. Perhaps recent events have slowed down the court case. I do know that this has happened with a couple of other cases, but I'm not entirely sure.
Hmm.
I do think it's safe to say it's unlikely that Mark will ever be released. The prosecutors are pushing for life in prison. It's sad to
Whew.
think that if the police had taken the men seriously, Kevin could still be alive today. And hopefully, I'll
As
be
well
able to
as
give
his
an
other
update
victims
sharing the
too.
news that justice was served for Kevin and his family. I'll do my best to look into this case from time to time and hopefully add some updates. If I do find any new information, I'll leave a pinned comment for you all to read, and I'll also update it in the community posts.
Yo, I definitely wouldn't mind an update on this case. Like, cause yeah, this is like some like creep. This is like some creeper shit. Like, honestly, like it's worse enough when you have one victim. But when you have like multiple victims that gone through like not the same pattern, but it's sort of similar. It's sort of similar in the case. Like only if the police would have took it more seriously, like made it like a top priority to make a strong case against this guy, like there probably wouldn't have been any more victims. Like for the first guy, like I can understand why he didn't want to press charges because with Mac he didn't want anything to come back on him, and he basically wound up in more danger than he would by not pressing charges. But when you got another victim, like, come on now, the patterns are there. The patterns are there, and honestly, the police couldn't do much about it because both victims decided not to press any charges, which was a grave mistake. I mean, I understand why, but you could at least you could at least band it together and I don't know, just get this guy off the streets. Like there wouldn't been any more victims, and this guy Kevin Bacon would have been alive. I don't know. It's a lot I can say about this, but I mean, this is already a long video, and I don't want to take up too much more time on it. But yo, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what y'all thoughts on this, and let's have a discussion about it in the comment section down below. And as always, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. And if you like me doing reactions like these, like looking up like murder cases or anything, yo, I'll be happy to do more for y'all. Just let me know like what kind of cases y'all want me to cover and I'll do it. You know what? I got y'all. Don't trip. But anyways, don't forget to tell your peoples across the globe come kick it with your boys. It's one good solid time. Like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share. And hit your boy up on social media right over yonder. Now this here's your boy Blaze here saying Chuck the Deuce. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.